Hello, welcome to the class of HTML5 programming. So today we are going to discuss about the CSS3 visual effect property. So we have discussed about the various property in earlier classes. Now we are going to discuss about another properties. Like here I am going to discuss about the property that is CSS3 opacity property. So here this CSS3 opacity property is used to configure the transparency of the element. So here its value ranges from 0 to 1. 0 is used for completely transparent and 1 is used for the completely opaque. So this property will apply both to the text and the tag. So here come up to the HTML program. So here I mentioned this opacity property here in the ID selector. I have used the ID selector content named as content, and in declaration part I use this background image, background repeat property, margin left, margin right property, and its width and height of the image, padding top property, and the next property is opacity, which we are discussing here. I mentioned its value as 1, and with the h1 I am adding the heading part, its background color, its opacity property, and font size, and its padding property. So here in opacity property I mentioned is 0.6 value. So in body part you can see here I have mentioned this id equals to this id name which we have used here, and this is for the heading 1 and this is for the heading 3, and I have enclosed this in the distribution structural element. So let's see how it will be displayed in the browser. Go to run and launch in Chrome. So you can see it will display like this in the browser. So these are this is for the h1 heading and this is for the h3 heading that I added the paragraph. So for that, let's discuss about this opacity property. Here I have declared the background opacity that as 1. So here this 1 value will make it completely opaque. So if I will reduce the value to 0, now save the program and refresh it, this browser, you can see that it will remove completely opaque, it displaying the completely opaque image or the text. So if I will increase the value completely transparent, as I select here 0, it is giving the completely transparent image and the text which is displayed here in the browser. So if I will increase the image opacity value, you can see that the dull appearance of the image and the heading property. If I will increase like here I mentioned 0.5 and save it and refresh it, so here somewhat clear. And if I mention here 0.9 and refresh it, and so it will displaying the clear image and the clear text. And for the completely opaque image and the text, save it, and so here for the completely opaque image and the text we have to add here the opacity as the 1. And for the background, for here h1, the opacity property work here for this part, that is this part which is including this Greenland. So if I will increase it to the 0.9 value, save it and refresh, you can see that this background color will now coming completely opaque. If I am reducing the value to 0.3, now save this and refresh you can see that this heading will have the dull appearance. So in this way this opacity property work in the HTML. So next we are going to discuss about the another property, that is the CSS3 RGBA color property. In earlier classes we have discussed about the RGB color values. Now we are going to discuss about the RGBA color property. So this RGBA color is a new color property with transparent color with a transparent color. So here this syntax is supported by CSS3 module. So here the 4 values are required for RGBA property, that is red, green, blue and A for the alpha. Here the value for the red, green, blue ranges from 0 to 255, and the value for alpha, that is used for transparency, and its value ranges to 0 to the 1. So here you can see that it doesn't support the hexadecimal value. Here we are using the hexadecimal value to configure the RGBA colors. So here in the program you can see that here in the style element I have mentioned this attribute, h1 attribute, h2 attribute, h1 selector, h2 id selector, h3 id selector, h4 id selector and the h5 id selector, and with it I have mentioned the declaration as background color colon RGBA and its value. This is for the red, this is for the red value, this is for the green, this one is for the blue and this one is for the alpha or the transparency. So let's run this program. So now see the body section. So here in body section I mentioned the h1 heading, and in another I mentioned the another headings, h2 heading, h2 various h2 heading, and in h2 opening tag I have mentioned the id selector name. So here id selector name h1, id selector name h2, id selector name h3, id selector name h4 and this one for the h5. So now go to run and launch in Chrome. So you can see that it will display like this. This is displaying the red RGBA value, this is displaying the green color, blue color, yellow color, and this is for the olive color. So this here this value is for the red, this is value for is the green, this value is for the blue, and this two values are displaying this yellow color, and this value is for the olive color. So you can check this value from the RGBA color values that are given in the websites, different website. So this one is for the transparency, to set the transparency of the color. So if I will change it to the 0.7, you can see that here the red color will become more opaque. Save this and refresh the browser. So it will coming in the red or the completely opaque red color. So if you will reduce this value yellow color to 0.2 and save it and refresh it, so its appearance is dull. So this is, in this way we can add the RGBA color values to the HTML program. So in next we are going to discuss about the HSLA color value. So this is the CSS3 HSLA color property. It based upon the color wheel model that stands for the hue, saturation, lightness and alpha. So here the H stands for hue. Hue is the actual color which is represented by numerical value. So it ranges from 0 degree to the 360. After that, the next value is for the saturation. It configures the intensity of the color and its value is represented in percentage. So the full color saturation, if we require the full color saturation, we will add it as 100%. If we want the gray color saturation, we will go down to the 0%. Next is lightness. L for the lightness. It determines the brightness or the darkness of the color, and it's also mentioned in the percentage value. For the normal color, we will write here the 50%. If we want the whitish in the color, so we will mention it in 100%. And if we want the black color, we will represent it in the darkness, or the dark color we will represent it as the near to the 0%. And alpha represent the transparency of the color, that is 0. It range from 0 to 1. So the advantage of using HSLA color is that the HSLA colors are more natural or intuitive to work as compared to the hardware oriented RGB colors or the HSL colors. So here in this program you can see that I have used this ID selector, different ID selector. This here I've used this 6 ID selector. Name is F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 and F6. And in declaration part I use the background color colon HSLA, and in this closed bracket I have mentioned this values for the hue, saturation, lightness and the alpha. So this value is for the hue, this one is for the saturation, this one is for the lightness, and this one is for the transparency or the alpha value. So let's see how it will be displayed in the browser. So go to run and launch in Chrome. So here you can see that it is displaying the various green color intensity different with the different intensities. This is one is the red color, this one is the pastel violet. So if you will change the value from here, there will be change in this colors. So if you will change the saturation of the color to 0% for the green one, save it and refresh it, you can see that its color changes to the gray, because 0 is set to for the gray saturation. So if you will write here 50% and refresh it, you can see that there is a dull green color. And if you will write here the 100, it will mention like it will give the bright green color. Same way, if you will change the intensity, it will change. There is a change in the intensity of the color. Let's see the red color here. So there is a change in there is change in the transparency of this color. Same way, if you will change the lightness of, like here I am changing the lightness of this to the 50% and save it, and now see the change to this dark green color. So it will come to the light green because I have reduced its lightness. If I will add here the 80% and save it and now refresh it, it will change to the dark green color. So in this way we can add the HSLA color property to HTML program. So this is all about CSS3 visual effect property. Thank you.